One more presentation about a garden slash park. I don't have the information right in front of me, but it's I know it's on the agenda. So is that team here?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna hand it to you all, and we'll take it away.
Cool. Thank you, Marcos. Will, are you able to share your screen? Do you have permission?
Yes,
Yes.
I just share the privilege with you, Joe.
Okay. Could you actually make William CCO the co-host?
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, I think you should be good to go now. Let me make it full screen.
Thanks. Well, yeah, my name is Joe Tache, and I'm here with the team with Mass Liberation. We're presenting on the Harriet Tubman Freedom Park project. And in particular, we're looking to get the park accepted into the DNI Land Trust. And so we want to give you all a presentation on the background of our organization, Mass Liberation, our primary project over the last several years, the Boston Liberation Center on Blue Hill Ave, and then talk about the park and the community process that we've gone through to design and finalize the proposal and plan for the park. So before we get into the presentation, though, we can just do some brief introductions from our team. So again, my name is Joe Tache. I'm on the board of Mass Liberation and live in the neighborhood as well. And I will pass it over to Ricky.
Hi, folks. Good evening, everyone. I apologize. I'm taking this call from a car because I'm actually about to head into a different meeting, but nice to see everyone today. My name is Ricky Guerra, and I'm providing support to the Mass Liberation team on this project. I also recently just completed the Magnolia Street Garden project, which also sits on the land trust. And for that project, I was responsible for construction oversight, design, fundraising, and just general project management. And happy to report that 100% of those funds went to MBEs, WBEs, or community-based organizations. And we're looking, in fact, the contractor lived on Wayland Street, so just a couple blocks away from the garden, and we're looking to do the same here. And I'll hand it over to Will.
Thanks, Ricky. My name is Will CCO. I am one of the co-project managers working along with Indira, who wasn't able to make it today. I've been working with Mass Liberation, really leading up the community engagement process for the park. And I'll pass it to Sal.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sal. I am a volunteer with the Boston Liberation Center. I've been volunteering since about 2021 with a variety of different programs for our community there.
Cool. Thank you all. So Will, would you mind going to the next slide? So just to provide you all with a little bit of background on Mass Liberation and the kind of inception of this park idea, just to read our mission statement, we provide education, outreach and volunteer opportunities, workshops, and other civic engagement scenarios around social issues impacting Massachusetts and beyond. And the primary way that we do that is through our programming and community organizing at the Boston Liberation Center at 194 Blue Hill Ave, which Sal will talk more about in a bit. But also wanted to just share a little bit about the name choice behind the park. Obviously, Harriet Tubman is a really significant figure in U.S. history and in Black history in this country. And many of the organizers who are part of Mass Liberation and who volunteer at the Liberation Center were part of a community organizing effort to save the Harriet Tubman house in the South End on Mass Ave a few years back in 2019, 2020, myself included. And that was a neighborhood institution that provided a lot of educational, social, and just community services for the neighborhood and represented a time when that part of the South End was more reflective of working class communities and communities of color. And unfortunately, in our perspective, we lost that fight and the building was turned into luxury condos. But we wanted to have something in the neighborhood here in Roxbury that represents the spirit of that building, but also the spirit of Harriet Tubman and the history of Black liberation, Black civil rights movement in this country, and really have something that can be positive and hopeful in the neighborhood. So with that, I'll pass it over to Sal to talk more about the Boston Liberation Center.
So yeah, as far as developer qualifications in community space, Mass Liberation's been partnering with community organizations like the Boston Liberation Center since our inception in 2020. And the Boston Liberation Center, if you haven't already been there, is a working class community center and also a hub for all types of organizing and educational events on Blue Hill Ave. And we're a direct abutter to where the park will be because we're at 194. So we've really seen Mass Liberation. We've consistently served our community together, and we know that we have to fight for a better world for our people and our neighborhood in common. And we can go to the next slide. Thanks. And since 2020, we've been working with Mass Liberation and with our neighbors to really transform this empty, formerly overgrown lot next to us. And you can see in the picture, you know, from cleaning up, mowing the lawn, having cleanups, having educational, cultural, celebratory, all types of events in this space that have kind of already started to change the use of the space to a more safe, family-focused, you know, communal space. And it's such a special thing to see, especially in Roxbury, where we have a heat desert and not a lot of spaces to gather and just be freely. It's a really special thing to see this open space being enjoyed safely without cost by neighbors, even as it is now. But we're even more excited to see what it will turn into in partnering with Mass Liberation and really bringing this park to fruition. Yeah, we can't wait to see this safe, green, free space that we know we deserve, you know, coming right here to Blue Hill Ave. And so on that note, I think the next slide is the planting plan, which, oh, we got a few plans there. Sorry to skip ahead, but I'll pass it back to you for that, Will.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Sal, and thank you, Joe. So I realize we haven't sent y'all the kind of full set of plans, and we can definitely do that after this presentation. But essentially, here are just some looks at what the parcel will look like, what the Harriet Tubman Freedom Park will look like. We have an entrance right here, and then we will have some plant beds sort of providing a buffer between the street sidewalk and then the kind of entrance to the park. At the bottom left of the screen, we will have a raised platform with a ADA accessible ramp up to the raised platform. It will sort of serve as a stage, essentially, for any various sorts of programming. There will be a circular kind of grass lawn area surrounded by material that is kind of just like more firm for like tables and chairs and whatnot. And then you might see this sort of like pathway that goes through the back of the lot, kind of winding in and out of the trees that are there currently, to sort of make a nice little like pathway, walkway. We sort of discussed possibly having kind of like local art being hung up, etc. But essentially, you know, these designs really allow us to like maximize the space. As Sal has said, volunteers from the Boston Liberation Center have been like helping stored the space, and the way the space is currently, basically the entire back left and sort of middle left area is kind of unusable just due to the different grading, etc. So this sort of design allows us to really maximize the entire space of the lot. And then, yes, we do have a planting, a landscaping plan, a planting plan that goes into the sort of specifics that kind of, yeah, get into the specific sorts of species that we're trying to plant. If our landscape architect was here, I'd have her, Heather, talk a bit more about that. But maybe that's something y'all can dive into when we send you the full set of plans. But I can move on, and if we have any questions about this, we can move back to that. But yeah, just to get into the community engagement element of this process. So to even like secure the space, we went out and were able to get around 200 letters of support from residents in the surrounding streets. As we coupled that with our proposal to the city. This is a was a vacant lot owned by the city, so just unused. And having been a part of this process of going around and knocking doors and trying to get letters of support, the conversations were relatively easy. Pretty much everyone wanted to see this unused vacant lot, like overgrown lot, be transformed into something that's oriented towards people and oriented towards people actually connecting with each other, which is what the Harriet Tubman Freedom Park is going to be all about. Then to kind of dive into the details a bit more, because, you know, we were all along, us and with residents were unified around having this be a kind of park space. We really wanted to see what kinds of activities people wanted to see at this space. Like, how are we actually going to activate this space? So we did 3 visioning activities last summer at 3 different events, and we'll get into some of those ideas in the next slide. And then we had a community meeting last September where we presented designs for the park, initial designs for the park. And that's where like residents were able to really dive in and kind of, it was almost like a co-design workshop, if you will. Residents gave feedback. We talked about what might be best where, et cetera. So that community meeting went really well, and we got a lot of really great feedback. And that's sort of what has informed the current designs that I just showed previously. Then I'll go to the next slide. And it's just some of the ideas that emerged from the visioning activity, sort of 3 broad categories of cultural activities, educational activities, and familial activities. So, you know, like live music, dancing, fitness classes, art activities. You know, we really want this space to be not just a space where individuals can connect, but a space where individuals or organizations can come in, do workshops and kind of build that network there, share skills. Like there's a ton of local artists that have come to the Boston Liberation Center for other events and have, you know, talked about wanting to do like, you know, paint lessons, etc. Then education. A lot of people like talked about wanting to do workshops around the history of the neighborhood, the history of organizing in the neighborhood, even technical workshops. So like people really building, you know, crucial skills and then being able to apply them. Then just kind of classes on a wide variety of different topics. And then finally, kind of familial activities that like mom and dad nights. A lot of people spoke to the need to like connect young people with the elders in the community. So trying to find that sort of like mixed age activities that were suitable for both young people and older people. Cookouts was another big one, and we've done some cookouts at the space. Those are always a hit. Everyone loves to connect over food. So yeah, those are just some of the ideas that really emerged out of this visioning activity and kind of serves as a foundation to inform like how we're going to actually activate this space. And then thinking about how we would really like manage and maintain this space moving forward. As we've said, the Boston Liberation Center is pretty integrated into the neighborhood, and we don't want this to just be a park space that's thrown down by some organization that no one uses. We really want residents to have like an ownership over the space, which is why we've really went so hard on the community engagement process, got letters of support even prior to that community engagement process. And this idea of the Friends of Harriet is still a work in progress. So we'd welcome any feedback. But essentially what we're thinking about is having this sort of Harriet Tubman Freedom Park or HTFP committee, almost like a resident council, that will kind of manage the space, make those kinds of decisions around finances, help maintenance, you know, do things around organizing cleanups, determining programming, and still thinking about ways to continue to like engage the community. And again, we want that to be like a resident council. And we have been talking with many folks who are interested in possibly being on this committee. And then the Friends of Harriet network, which is sort of a broader kind of wider network, almost like a tier down from like people that want to be really involved in the space, but people who are just sort of interested in being in the know about various programming and activities that are ongoing, and might even want to provide like a donation, because of course we'll need to you know, have funds to help out when making, you know, doing kind of park cleanups or anything else, doing other maintenance things. And even just on the point of funding, I want to be clear that through private grants, through the Community Preservation Act and the Mayor's Office of Housing, we have secured all of the funds that we need to do this project. The ask here really is, like Joe said, getting into the DNI's Community Land Trust. So with that, I'll open it back up to, Sal or Joe if I missed anything. But that's what we have today.
No, I think you covered it, Will, but obviously we're open to hear questions and feedback.
Thank you guys for your presentation. I'm guessing just on the ask itself, that there will be something forwarded to the actual DNI board for them
Yes.
for us to make the decision there. So thank you for again looking to the land trust to safeguard its use and all the work that you've done to secure the funds to actually build it. Well, it would have been great to have a rendering because it's a very busy
Yes.
plan.
Yes.
And and it's like it needs to be flipped so I could see like what's high, what's low, what's what will it feel like? So but thank you for sharing. I had mentioned to Renee that I needed to step off the call at 7:30, so I'm going to do that. And Tracy, maybe you'll take the facilitation role, or Renee. But thank you guys all for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Marcos.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Marcos.
Marcos.
And before you go, Marcos, just to let you know that Sharon Shaw has been in contact with me and the team. So she suggested to the group to come to SDC. Probably the next step is go back to the DNI board for a conversation and look for the specific step moving forward for the park to be part of the community land trust.
Sounds good. So I'll see you at that meeting. Have a good night.
Thank you, Marcos.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, so I will open it for question and comments from participants. Anyone?
I will comment. Hi, everyone. Samuel Hurtado. I'm also on the board of directors of DSNI. Thank you so much for all this work you guys have been doing to create this park. I guess one of my questions is the after is built. Well, one, do you have, how is it going to look like? More like a, like a picture, I don't know how you call it. More like a 3D type
Rendering?
I thank you, Renee.
Yes, we do. That's our fault. We should have sent the full plans and even included some of those pictures in here. But we've been working with our landscape architect, Heather, who owns Highmark Land Design, and she definitely has some rendering, so I can get that over.
So if you don't have it, that's fine.
Yeah, not on me personally.
No worries. So after I don't know, probably I missed that. After you build it, then who is going to manage the programming?
So we really want this to be, a resident-led effort. And so through the work of the Boston Liberation Center, which has built a variety, like a ton of connections, the way we were sort of envisioning the sort of long-term maintenance of the park, like aside from hopefully being in the DNI land trust, is having like a resident committee. So there probably will be a member of Mass Liberation or two like on that committee, but most of them would probably be residents that we built strong, strong and close relationships with. And anyone else that maybe would want to be a part of, actually kind of managing the space and kind of making those programmatic decisions and maintenance decisions. So, and this is an idea that we're still workshopping and kind of trying to flesh out, put more of the meat on the bones, if you will, to this idea. So, we'd be happy to share some more details, or Sal, if you wanted to speak to anything. Yeah, Sal, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, no, because I know we also have another park. I guess is like what is it? 2 streets be like in the back behind Merengue restaurant that is already on the land trust. And I know there've been some challenges just to maintain it, keep it. And I think we are also going through some community process just to see what kind of usage we can get, so the residents won't use it more. So I think that would be a question, I guess, for DNI, more in terms of what this means for the land trust and then the funding, because DNI is, it has the representation from residents. Now, on my I guess my official job, I work for the city, and I have been meeting with the Department of the Green Infrastructure, and they're looking a lot into opportunities for parks that are going to be more resilient with climate change. So I don't know if you guys would be open to have a conversation with them. I don't know how much you have already incorporated and thinking about, because they are doing a lot of different gardens with, to be more resistant for climate and rain and all of those things. So if you're interested, I'm happy to, or maybe you're already connected with them.
No, yeah, I think Sam, if you want to send that info or maybe send it to Renee, and maybe Renee can send it to us, we'd be happy. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay,
I
thank
know
you.
it's a little bit small on the slide with the planting plan, but you can see already that there is a rain garden plan, and all of the plants are native plants as well. So there's a lot of environmental things that have been taken into consideration too with the diagrams there. Thanks for zooming in, Will.
Hey, thank you, Samuel, for your comment. You were referring to the Trina Passat Playground. Is a space that currently we're doing a community process to figure out how we can renovate it. But yeah, that's a good point. I think a conversation with, DSNI, I'm sorry, DNI, to, make sure there is the right funding, and, they have the capacity to maintain it over time. So, Jose, you're next.
Yes, I want to commend this group for thinking about land trust first, and then also for the community process that you guys been doing. I thought that wasn't your process was a DSNI's process with all those community engagement, all the post-it notes, all those. I saw a lot of involvement of the community. I'm really want to commend you guys for it and for bringing something. I never heard of mass liberation, so this is great. I hope that we'll be working together, especially with the Multicultural Festival that is coming soon. DSNI does it probably in August, but we'll lose in touch with you guys. I'll also Renee maybe will remind her
Yep.
too. But good luck with this project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. So yeah, two big events coming up. One is the 40th anniversary of DSNI, June 27 at the Shirley Yutis house. Everybody's invited. Please join us. It's gonna be a good celebration, a good opportunity to meet people. I heard that former Mayor Flynn, who gave the eminent domain power to DSNI, might come and say a few words about why inspire him, or what was like the issue at that time that provide DSNI with the eminent domain power. And the other is the Multicultural Festival. August, I think it's the 17th. I need to check on that, but at the beginning of August is a community multicultural festival. Great opportunity to have a table there if you want to provide information about the project. That's a good place. So yeah, I don't know if you can see a question from Bruce on the chat. Can you speak to the history of the site?
Yeah, for sure. So From my understanding, the site has been a vacant lot owned by the city for some time now. I know when we first started to, stored the site and start to try and clean it up, I mean, we found all sorts of stuff in the ground, like tires, like it was definitely like a dumping ground. For I'm not sure how long. I'm not sure like much else beyond that time. Like, I mean, it's definitely, I don't believe it's been used for at least like 15 years, 10, 15 years. But now, Joe, I'm not sure if any of you can maybe speak to that, but it's definitely been like kind of a dumping ground for a bit now. So when we first cleaned it up to have like the grand opening of the Boston Liberation Center, we got rid of like almost like a foot of the topsoil because there was just so much stuff that was in there.
I can also speak a little bit to the, obviously I wasn't there for much of the history, but speaking to Ms. Ima, who is another abutter to the lot and has been a lifelong resident. As far as she has told us, it has been pretty unused. And you might see her space. She sometimes has a little resale shop in the summer on that corner.
Great. Any other question, comment?
At least 3 or 4
Mike?
years. And,
No?
this is everything.
Okay, if
I'm here.
Huh?
I'm here.
Yeah, just making sure you don't have any comments or question.
No.
Okay, great. So thank you guys. And I think I will follow up with Sharon, see what are the next step. Also, her seems like very well. And we can take it from there.
And then one last thing,
Yeah.
is it June 22nd, I think is where the city is closing Blue Hill Lab. So I don't know if you guys are
that's
aware,
right.
if you guys are planning any, maybe have.
Open street, right?
Oh yeah, we'll be there. We will definitely be there. And probably at the Multicultural Festival as well, for sure. We did that last summer. So and that was great. So yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we're gonna go into, like just resident discussion. We have some businesses to take care and deciding a couple of things. Thank you guys for joining us tonight.